Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah. I want to welcome you to True Texas History, where we're going to be talking about independence, Iturbede, and 1821. Now, to make sense of Texas history, many times you've got to construct a timeline and follow what's going on, because it's almost like a three-ring circus. There's so much going on. And I went ahead and went with this topic because today, June 23rd, back in 1821, the Long Expedition declared the Second Republic of Texas. They did so in Nacogdoches. The first Republic of Texas was declared with the Gutierrez-McGee expedition back in 1812. Now, things get a little more interesting because, how shall we say, let's take a look at something here. With this Second Declaration of Independence, you also have this flag here, the Long Expedition flag, which is the flag that they were using at that time for that movement. They set up there in Nacogdoches until on setting up headquarters there, they sent out emissaries to Lafitte. They were hoping to get Lafitte's help. Lafitte didn't help them, but did let them know that Spanish troops were on the way. Now, the Spanish troops were bent on destruction. In fact, they were destroying every outpost left by the Long Expedition. They didn't want any evidence of the Long Expedition having come through there. They even destroyed the Alabama Coshada Indian village. I mean, these people were very bent on destruction. Now, the other things that were going on in 1821, which you need to be aware of because it gives you the background, is back in the early part. Well, let's go back to 1820. The Spanish viceroy went ahead and appointed Iturbede to lead an offensive against a force under Guerrero, which was seeking to achieve Mexican independence. Now, Iturbede went ahead and met with Guerrero, and on February 24th, 1821, they got together and they developed something called the Plan of Iguala, which they were going to declare the independence of Mexico under these, what they would call the three guarantees. It sounded nice, except that Iturbede had other plans. Although he talked a game of independence for Mexico, what he really had in mind, and we didn't find this out until later in 1821, was when he crowned himself Emperor of Mexico, in a pretty gaudy ceremony, actually. But keep in mind that Iturbede was in control of Mexico at the time, and so when Long went to Mexico City, initially Iturbede thought that he could use Long as a tool, and Long had some intentions to go ahead and be appointed to a special position in the government. That didn't work out. Instead, Long was killed under strange circumstances, and I talked about that video there in my previous one where I looked at his filibustering activity. But Iturbede went ahead and rose to power with the three guarantees, and that's also when he came up with the Mexican tricolor flag. Now, this was in 1822. He was eventually crowned emperor, but before that they had the flag of the three guarantees. Let me go ahead and show you that. It was a tricolor, although not your traditional type of tricolor, with the three vertical stripes, but this was three diagonals. Now I mention this because some of the interesting pieces, one, the flag of the long expedition, that Lone Star flag, you're going to see that crop up again. It's almost like this country was bound and determined to be the Lone Star Republic. And I wanted to at least talk about the long expedition since this was the day of their Declaration of Independence. Now, it did not last very long. Long ended up being killed before the end of the year in 1821. His wife had been left over there on Bolivar with a servant named Kiamata. And it wasn't until the next year in 1822 that some people had the unfortunate duty of going ahead and informing her that her husband had died. And of course, this was terrible news. Now, she remained very active in the Republic of Texas and in the formation of things, had a house there near Rosenberg. I've had the opportunity of going ahead and visiting the house. It's a neat house. And rumor had it that she had good relations with Lafitte and that Lafitte visited her later in life. I don't know whether that's true or not, but it makes for an interesting story. But, anytime that you declare independence in Texas and you're up against the Spanish, you can count on them having reactions. And likewise, the Declaration of Independence of 1821 met with some fallout. But I wanted to go ahead and spend some time on that topic and put it within the context of what was going on in Mexico at the time as Iturbede was rising to power. He had to make sure that any threat to his authority was taken care of, which he did. And it ended up in 1822, there was an uprising against him, and guess who was one of the main ones involved with it? Santa Anna, which we talked about the other day. So here we have the intersection of Long, Iturbede, Santa Anna, and Texas independence. A lot of things started happening in 1821 that were almost like a foreshadowing of what was going to happen with events in 1836. Hope you enjoyed this today. Be filling in more pieces of the Texas independence puzzle and talking more about it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. I'll be glad to get to them. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.